If it hadn't been for some last-minute wrangling on Capitol Hill right before Christmas, about 160 million Americans would be lighter in the paycheck beginning next week. But the deal on extending the payroll tax break is only for 2 months. So could we soon see Washington go to the brink yet again? Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn joins us, a Republican of Tennessee, and you're in Nashville today. It looks beautiful behind you.
That's it.
How do you envision this thing being resolved? I mean, can it be resolved without the kind of animus that it seemed to mark the most recent standoff?
Greg, I think that we can get this resolved. What we conservatives in the House are pushing for is to make certain that individuals are going to keep more of their paycheck. They're going to keep more of their money. At the same time, our focus is on jobs. And as we look at the entire jobs agenda, it is let's make certain that we are having less litigation, less regulation, less taxation, and get to more innovation and more job creation in this economy. So you're going to see us right down to this, getting it solved.
But look, many of your fellow Republicans in the House are opposed to extending it 10 more months. I talked to one of them last Friday. Don't you run the risk of having the president successfully portray your party as against tax cuts?
I think that that is going to be difficult to do, but we know that the president has the megaphone and we don't. But here's the deal. Many of us want to make certain that while individuals are paying less and that Washington is taking less because Washington wastes a lot of what it takes, and it takes too much money, we want to make certain that we are protecting that Social Security Trust Fund and the Medicare Trust Fund, and individuals are getting their money. So we've got some good bills. I've got a bill that would prohibit taking that money out of the Social Security Trust Fund and spending it in the general fund.
Well, explain something to me. If you care so much about the Social Security Trust Fund, then why is it that the $33 billion that will be taken from Freddie, Fannie, and FHA loans goes into the general fund and not into the Social Security Trust Fund to pay for the cost of this, which is $33 billion for 2 months?
Right. It's part of that robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're exactly right, Greg. And what many of us want to do is to get to more accountability and transparency in the budget process, regardless of whether it's dealing with some of these affiliates like Fannie and Freddie, or you're dealing with out-of-control bureaucracies like the EPA, or these mega bills like Obamacare that we're trying to defund and repeal. But what we want to do is get to more transparency so that when government takes your money, you, the taxpayer, can follow where that money is being used and how it's being used, and more accountability through this entire process.
10 more months is going to cost roughly $100 billion. How are you going to pay for that? Are you in favor of, for example, freezing the pay of federal workers through September of 2013 to pay for it? That's one of the ideas. Are you in favor of that?
I am in favor of freezing all federal pay and all federal spending. Actually, there's a bill that I have that would freeze spending at what we passed in August. We froze it in the minibus that we passed at the end of this year, and let's freeze it through 2014. That saves $27 billion just by closing the checkbook, taking that blank check away from the president and saying, this is going to be the high water mark. We are not going to add to the spending. We're not going to add to the federal debt.
Representative Marsha Blackburn, great to see you. Happy holidays to you.
Good to be with you.
Right,
Thank you.